Okay, so carrying on our introduction to Techsoft Designer, we'll look at a few more things in a bit more detail. So I'm just going to get rid of what's on the screen here. Just going to delete that, and I'm going to put my grid back on. Okay, so when I draw a line, I'm just going to draw a basic line first of all. I'm going to click my line tool, and I've got my grid lock on, so I'm going to draw a rubber band line just across there. Okay, I'm going to zoom in on that a little bit so you can see it a bit more clearly. Okay, if I now go up to that line and I use my select tool, I can click on my line and it goes pink. And a few things happen. And this happens whenever you select anything. You get the idea here where you can copy something, you can rotate something, I can grab these handles and I can change the length or the size of something, or I can go in and I can edit the properties of it. Now we're going to do all of that with something a little bit more interesting than a line in a minute. But while this is selected, I can change things about it. So at the moment, if I click on the line tool here, it tells me what that line's like. So it's a fine line and it's a straight black line. If I wanted to change that to something else, so for instance, if I want to make it thicker, I can choose thick. I'll leave it at 2mm and see what that looks like and click OK. Okay, so straight away if I click off it, I see it's gone thicker. Let's click back on it again. I can change the colour of it. I can come up here, I can choose a different colour. So I'm going to make my line red. Click off it, have a look, there we go, it's gone red. Or I could change the line type. Instead of having I could have a dotted line or something. Okay, so that basic feature works on anything that I select. Okay, let's try something a little bit more complicated. Let's come out of this a little bit. I'm going to delete that line. I'm just going to hit delete on my keyboard. And this time I'm going to draw some joined up lines. So I'm going to maybe make a triangle or something. So still using my rubber banding, I'm clicking left mouse button and I'm clicking on each one. Okay, so I could, if I wanted to, select that all in one go, and once I've gone in I can change my line and I can make it a thicker line and I can make it a different color line. So we'll go for a big pink one. In fact, we'll go for a blue one. Okay, so there's my blue triangle, but I might want to fill that with color. Can I fill it with color? Well, even if I select all of those things and I come up here to fill, let's see if it'll let me do it. So I'm going to choose a solid color. Maybe I'll go for a pink colour, say OK, and it hasn't done it. Why didn't it fill that shape? If I drew a shape using my shape tool and I grabbed it all up, drew it and then selected it and then said to fill it with colour. Let's choose a better colour than that, go for an orange. Okay, it does it to that one. Why did it do it to that one and it didn't do it to this one? Okay, because at the moment it thinks that this one is 3 separate lines instead of one continuous one. So what I can do is I could come back here, highlight all of that, I could go to edit, and down here I've got something that says make path. If I click on make path, it'll give me a little warning. I'll just say yes. It looks exactly the same, but now you'll see when I select it, it selects the whole thing in one go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that. I'm going to go for my fill color. I'm going to choose another color, different color again. I'll go for a turquoise color. No, I won't. I'll go for a green color. Click OK, click OK. Now it's done it. But what you will notice is that the outside line is one color and the inside's a different color. So I drew with blue and I filled with green. Okay, there might be times where after you've drawn a shape you want to actually change something. So perhaps if I selected this object, now I can go to where it says property and choose the property. Now on the properties it's telling me my line colour is one colour and my fill colour is another colour. So I could actually change that now if I wanted to. So if I wanted to make my line, instead of having it as blue, I wanted that to be green as well, I could come over here, click on the line colour, choose my green, click OK, and now my outside line is still an outside line, but it's the same colour as the inside fill. So I can change all those things around. What else can I do? Well, when I've selected it, apart from the properties which allow me to change things like the colours, I could click on the start edit, and when I'm editing it now goes into what's called the anchor nodes. I could grab that little point and I can move it somewhere else and I can edit things that way. I can even, if I select under edit a line, once that line is selected I can do something called add a node. So I could actually put in there another anchor point to make this a slightly different shape again. And if I wanted to, I could do that a second time. I could select this line, add another node in the middle again, and again I can manipulate it. So all these shapes can be edited after you've drawn them in many ways, which makes them really useful. Okay, I'm going to end the edit there. The other thing you need to be aware of is what's called stacking order. So if I select this one, and in fact I'll show you some other tricks here. If I click down here, I create a second copy of it. If I grab the middle and drag it, I can move it, and if I rotate it here, I can move it around. So perhaps I want to, in fact I'm going to change the color of that one. So I'm going to go into my property, change my fill color to something totally different, make it red one. I want to put these on top of each other. So if I grab this one and put it over here, it covers that one up. If I grab this one and put it over here, it covers that one up. But it didn't, did it? Look, it went behind. So what does that mean? The stack in order is which one is at the front and which one's at the back. So if I click on this one, if I come up the top here now, I can see it says to front or forward. So if I click to front, it puts that one as the one that's right in the front. If I wanted to send it back one, I could come up here and I can say go back one, and I can change the order. So I can select any of these objects and I can decide which order to put them in. If I don't want to use these little little icons up here, I can go into edit, and inside edit I can actually arrange here by choosing from the list as well. So there's two different ways of doing it. So I'll bring that one to the front, it becomes in the front. So that's manipulating the shapes on the screen.